What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Antonio Brown has been released by the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders had informed Antonio Brown that he would be fined in excess of $215,073.53 because of the altercation he got with General Manager Mike Mayock. You know, it got real ugly. He cursed out the general manager, called him a derogatory racial term. And the term he used, I heard, was cracker. So the next day, as you know, Antonio Brown got in front of the team, and with the team captain standing right next to him, he apologized, and everything seemed, all good as far as him coming back and playing for the Raiders. But the Raiders, I guess, informed him sometime Friday night that they were going to fine him again with that $215,073.53. And what that fine did was it voided out his guaranteed contract, which was, I think it was $29 million and $125,000. $29.125 million contract been voided out. So Antonio Brown was informed of that, and he said, "No, I can't play. I can't play for you guys in that with that type of contract. You know, my guarantees are no longer there. You know, I'm basically on a week-by-week contract, and I can't play for your organization under that type of contract." So he got on his Instagram post and told the Raiders to basically asked them to release him, said, "No hard feelings. I'm not mad. Just release me because I can't play under those terms." And the Raiders obliged them, and they released him. Now, only thing as far as Antonio Brown goes, it wasn't going to end no other way. The guy is a prima donna. The guy is, you let the guy get away with things that you wouldn't let other players get away with, missing practices, and you find him, you let him try to figure the helmet gate out, as he refused to wear certified approved helmets that they approved of. He wanted to wear his own old school helmet that had been predated, that the NFL no longer deemed that was safe for players. He tried to fight that. The team stood behind him. They ruled on that he had to wear their helmet. He looked and looked. Him and his agent, they tried to find what you call a happy medium. They took it to appeals ruling, and he lost that. And basically he had to wear what the NFL certified. I think it was a couple other high-profile players that weren't happy. Tom Brady, a couple other players, but they adhered to the rules that the NFL mandated for those helmets. And Antonio Brown was the one who kept fighting. So they fined him for missing those 2 days, August 18th again and August 22nd. Okay, and that's what the altercation with Mike Mayock. He apologized to the team the next day, heartfelt apology, and the team accepted him back in their good graces. And he was supposed to play Monday night against the Denver Broncos. But I think this is what I think the Oakland Raiders has got to hold some kind of blame here themselves. People ain't bringing this up. Once you brought him back to your good graces, you shouldn't. Once he did that meeting and he apologized to the team, and you said, you're welcome back on that team. You shouldn't have been so quick to bring him back with open arms. You should have said, okay, you got it from the team. You apologize for your actions. You apologize. Excuse my voice. You apologize for your actions. But for you to come back on this team, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be fined for the altercation you had with Mike Mayock, the $215,073.53. We're going to void your contract. The $29.125 million contract is going to be voided. You're going to be on a week-to-week contract, okay? And it's gonna be on them terms, and then it's gonna be on them terms for you to come back to the team. They should have took care of that right then and there after the meeting he had with the team. They didn't do that. They was like, okay, you coming back, and then later on the next day you come with these fines. You ambush him with these fines, knowing the type of guy you're dealing with, a guy that's very emotional, a guy that's it's got to a particular brand and particular status in his mind that he thinks that he's above a lot of things. Think he's supposed to maybe get away with a lot of things. Maybe you're supposed to bend to a lot of his issues and his situations with his helmet and things of that nature. And you should have known the type of guy he was. He was going to rebel against that. So you shouldn't have. So what the long story being short, what it's making the Raiders look like is like you looking like a organization that's dysfunctional. Come on, man. Any other organization, you think they would have just said, "Okay, you back," after the altercation and all well that ends well type of thing? No, they would have said, "Look here, we understand that you apologize, but it's the consequences for your actions. You cursed out the general manager. You called him a derogatory racial terms. That stuff can't go unpunished. We're going to punish you for those, and that's going to void your contract out, and you're going to be a week-to-week basis with the team. Are you okay with that, Antonio? Yes or no? If he would have said, no, I can't play under those terms, and then you say the same day, say, okay, Antonio Brown, this is Friday. Antonio Brown, he apologized to the team. I felt he was sincere in his apology. But, we talked with him about his consequences of cursing out the general manager, and we told him that we were going to hand down punishment for those actions. Every action, there's a consequence, and he was not willing to accept that. So now we have released Antonio Brown from the Oakland Raiders, and he's free to go search for another organization and another team. And that would have been the end of that. That would have been the end of that. But now you come out saying, after he apologizes, you say he's back and went in with the good graces. John Gruden is in front of reporters at the practice saying that Antonio Brown is going to play against the Denver Broncos Monday. And then after all that, then you throw the fines at him. I understand the Oakland Raiders, you got to fine them for that, because other players are looking at that situation. And if you let Antonio Brown get away with cursing out the general manager and putting the football in the air and telling the general manager, fine that, you open yourself up for future problems with other players. They say, okay, if you didn't really do anything about Antonio Brown got in front of the team and apologized, and you basically swept it under the rug and let him play. I think I can do the same thing. I can go off on the coach, and then the next day leave the practice, go home, cool off, and come back the next day and apologize in front of the team, and I'll be in good graces just like Antonio Brown was. You let him get away with it, you let me get away with it. So I understand that from the Oakland Raiders perspective. But at the same time, you got to be a little bit more organized. You know that you already knew that you was not going to let him get away with cursing out the general manager, because it was going to dent his credibility as far as the players and the coaches go. So you had to be some kind of action towards that. You should have informed Antonio Brown after he apologized in front of the team, and should have asked him, was he okay with that? If he would have said no, then you just move on and release him and move on as an organization from Antonio Brown. That's just my 2 cents on it. As far as teams that Antonio Brown could possibly go to, I think it's going to be tough, man. Who's going to guarantee him any kind of money? With his this situation with the Oakland Raiders, this guy's been a prima donna. It's been soap opera after soap opera going on since he's been there with the Raiders. The guy was a problem child with the Pittsburgh Steelers. What team's gonna take a chance on him? I heard a lot of people say, well, maybe New England or Philadelphia. Man, Bill Belichick not gonna put up with that. Oh, what you talking about, JB Sports? They had Randy Moss and Ocho Cinco. Yeah, they had Randy Moss, but Randy Moss wasn't creating all these problems off the field. Randy Moss' problem was not playing hard every play, but he was so talented and was so productive he could get away with that. But his problem wasn't nothing off the field. He got into some kind of problem. He did get into some kind of problem with a security guard or some kind of rental cop when the woman cop was trying to tell him to do something with his car, and he was like, nah, I didn't want to listen to it, and he tried to drive off, and I think the female security guard or rental cop jumped on the car, and he was driving real slow with the lady on top of the car telling him to stop. That's about the only thing he did. It wasn't no serious situation. So you can't compare his situation. That was off the field. We talking about a lot of Antonio Brown problems is on the field. It's on the sideline, in training camp, with the NFL helmet gate. This is how that stuff has got involved on the field activities. And Ocho Cinco, he did a lot of stuff as far as he would have a list of cornerbacks on go get cornerbacks on this list. He have a list of cornerbacks that he go against each week, and he said if he dominate them, he'll check them off. And the next week he got this other cornerback on the hit list. He did fun things. On the sideline. On the sideline with the cheerleaders had the Hall of Fame jacket on after he scored a touchdown. He put a Hall of Fame jacket on in the sideline, stuff like that. Getting on the scoring a touchdown, doing the river dance, stuff like that. His stuff was more playful, but it wasn't nothing that was contract detrimental to the team situation. You know what I'm saying? It got to a point where his production fell off. And then the team was not willing to put up with his shenanigans. But it was nothing to this level of Antonio Brown. So New England Patriots and Ocho Cinco had a relationship when he was with the Bengals, that he would talk with Brady before the game, and he would talk with Belichick. So he had some kind of relationship. They don't have any kind of relationship with Antonio Brown as far as that goes. So I don't see him going to New England. I heard Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles not going to put up with that either. Remember Terrell Owens? They've been through that in that city. They're not going to put up with a Terrell Owens 2.0 and Antonio Brown. He's worse than Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens he had some stuff where he got into it with Andy Reid and got into a fight with Hugh Douglas in the locker room and challenged Donovan McNabb to a fight and stuff like that. That's when things got bad. That's when Terrell Owens didn't get his money. He didn't get the contract he felt he deserved when he had a great year and helped lead the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl and played on basically a broke leg and was the best player on the field with a broke leg when they lost to the New England Patriots. He felt he should have got his money's worth. So there's a whole different dynamic than what Antonio Brown has been doing with the Oakland Raiders and Pittsburgh Steelers. So I don't see those two teams. Now, scenario I do see playing out is maybe if a team that's got Super Bowl aspiration loses one of their star receivers, gets hurt, and sometime during this season, then they'll make a call and bring Antonio Brown over there if they want, and they feel like this is our year. We got the fans all hyped up, and we've got all the pieces in place to win the Super Bowl. We've got a quarterback that's been in this league and produced in this league, and then our star receiver gets hurt. And we don't want to just give up on the season. We still think we got the pieces to compete for championships. We just need to bring in another star receiver, and that's what they'll maybe try to go after Antonio Brown in that situation. Let's use this for example. Hopefully this don't hurt. Hopefully this doesn't happen. New Orleans Saints. Say Michael Thomas gets hurt. Okay, New Orleans Saints are a Super Bowl caliber team, Super Bowl contending team. Okay, Michael Thomas gets hurt with God forbid, an injury that takes him out the rest of the season. Okay, now they still got Drew Brees that's 39, 40 years old, maybe got another year or two left, and then he's probably retired off into the sunset, waiting on his Hall of Fame induction. If Michael Thomas gets hurt, then maybe the Saints go after Antonio Brown to bring him in, and so Antonio Brown would have to, basically bow down and be willing to accept, because any way he goes, he's not going to get no guaranteed money. It's going to be pretty much prorated, and it's going to be on a week-to-week basis, just like what he wanted to set with the Raiders. But him sitting on the sideline not playing will probably give him a lot of self-reflection, and I think it'll humble him, and he'll be willing at least to get back in the NFL by any means necessary to prove that he still is one of the top receivers in the game, and hopefully get another contract after this year with a team that's willing to take a chance on him and willing to outweigh the negatives with the production on the field. So maybe the Saints. It'll have to be a team like the Saints if they lose Michael Thomas, or a team of that ilk that's got a chance. And maybe the Rams if they lose Cook. Brandon Cook gets hurt. He gets knocked out for the season, and they need they got Super Bowl aspiration. Maybe Mike McVay will bring him in. It'll have to be a team like that, New Orleans or the Rams. Or maybe Seattle Seahawks. He would have to, maybe Seattle Seahawks. If their receiver gets hurt, what's the little receiver they got out of Kansas State? I can't remember his name right now. Number 16. He's their go-to receiver. He's basically taking the spot of Baldwin. Baldwin's had to retire from injuries, but they got number 16. I can't remember his name, but say he gets hurt. He's a dual threat. He's a receiver and a return specialist. But say he gets hurt. And then, maybe they bring in Antonio Brown to Seattle. They've known to have, they've dealt with a lot of outspoken athletes, before. You look at Earl Thomas, and you look at players of that nature that's been on that Seattle Seahawks, Legion of Doom. They've have a lot of outspoken athletes on that side on that team, so they might be willing to bring Antonio Brown. But long story being short, Antonio Brown's probably going to sit on the sideline well into the season. That's how I think it's going to play out. He's going to have to wait for maybe an injury to happen to a team that's contending, that feels that they're a contender for a Super Bowl, to maybe take a chance and bring him in. And that's the scenario I see playing out. I don't see anybody just jumping in the water, jumping in the pool to bring in Antonio Brown, because that water is way too deep. You're going to drown right now, the way his mindset is. So that's just what it is. Again, Antonio Brown has been released by the Oakland Raiders. The Antonio Brown saga is officially over, and he's a free agent. Will be a free agent at 3:01 Central Time. He will be a free agent. He won't be able to play, even if a team picks him up at 3:02. He won't be able to play this Sunday. The earliest he could play would be week 2. So he's been released by the Oakland Raiders. It's over and done with as far as Antonio Brown is concerned. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.